Hello everyone, welcome back to the MMA Hippo channel. Today I'll be breaking down the UFC 319 main card predictions. I'm a little fucking pissed because I just fucking recorded this video and it didn't record my audio. So I'm gonna have to go over all of my fucking picks again. But starting off with Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura, I'm gonna go Kai Asakura by second round TKO. Tim Elliott is just kind of a guy that gatekeeps the division. He hasn't been a high level fighter in a very long time. So I don't think he's going to be able to do too much. I think it's going to be a dominant first round from Kai Asakura, probably dropping Tim Elliott, but then he's going to be able to finish him by TKO in the second round. I believe Kai Asakura is the favorite too, so that would make for that. Kai Asakura obviously coming off the Pantoja loss. Got subbed. He's looked good striking. He's a very unorthodox and just kind of like powerful and fast twitch guy, so I think he has a pretty dominant performance in this fight and moves on to the top ranked guys. And then moving on to the next fight, we got MVP versus Jared Cannonier. Now this is a very interesting fight because MVP is the fucking most exciting and boring fighter you'll ever fucking watch. And Jared Cannonier is fighting for his fucking retirement savings because he's basically 90 years old. I don't know how he's not washed, but he isn't. So yeah, he's a fucking weird guy where he's like one of the least washed of the older generation, and it's really weird to see. But he's a very flat-footed kickboxer. He's a good technical kickboxer and like will make good reads. So that should be interesting. And MVP obviously is just like, basically a flashy point fighter and stays on the outside, good footwork, just really weird, entertaining and boring at the same fucking time. So I think Jared Cannonier is going to get dominated for the first two rounds. Maybe not dominated, but I think he's going to probably get hit a good amount. I don't see MVP finishing him, because who the fuck can he finish? I think he's going to chop the legs down for the first two rounds, and then 2 minutes into the third, I think he's going to catch MVP with something, and I think he's going to be able to get him out of there. Probably a left hook or like something looping that's a lunging like a gazelle hook or something. But I think he's going to be able to get MVP out of there 2 minutes or 3 minutes into the third round by TKO. So Jared Cannonier by third round TKO. Moving on to the third fight, we have Geoff Neal versus Carlos Pratis. Now Geoff Neal is coming off the RDA win, which was RDA got hurt. And then before that, it was the Ian Gary and then the Shavkat loss, where the Shavkat fight was pretty close. And then Ian Gary was just kind of a weird performance. He doesn't show up all of the time, so I don't know what to expect. And then Carlos Pratis coming off the Ian Gary loss. People thought he got exposed. I didn't think it was that bad of a loss, especially after, he nearly was, very fucking close to having Ian Gary out of there in the fifth round and fucking, basically nearly finished him. He still needs to work on those things. I think that can just be an adjustment loss. He needs to learn. I think he will learn from his mistakes. I don't think he'll be able to apply it to this fight. Because Neal's not going to be able to. He's not a very, fast footwork guy. He's not going to be able to stick to the outside and just jab and move. So I think, it's going to be good boxing. And then Carlos Pratis is just going to land something in the first round and probably TKO, or not TKO, just probably flatline Geoff Neal in the first round. And that'll be the end of Geoff Neal. I don't really think he'll be able to show up anymore after he gets fucking killed, basically. So I think I'm going to go first round KO by Carlos Pratis. This would have been my pick the first time they booked it. And this is still my pick now. I don't think Pratis got exposed. I think he just needs to do a better job of closing the distance. But against Geoff Neal, it's not going to fucking matter because they're going to stand in front of each other and, box. And if Neal is one of those guys that doesn't really show up and he gets hit a lot. So I don't think he's going to be able to withstand Carlos Pratis' power. Obviously, Hands of Steel has decent power too, but I think Pratis is going to be able to take it. And I don't think Neal is going to be able to take his power. I think we're going to see decent exchanges in the first 2 minutes, and then Pratis is just going to land something that shuts Neal's lights off and flatlines him. Then, moving on to the co-main, we have Lerone Murphy, undefeated prospect, versus undefeated 40-year-old fucking prospect, versus Aaron Pico, making his UFC debut, who was a good prospect. He's only 28, but I mean, he's shown a lot of holes in his game. He's on a 3-fight win streak, but I still don't think he's that elite of a fighter. He's been flatlined a few times. That's not going to happen this fight, though, because it's fucking Lerone Murphy. So, I don't know why Aaron Pico is the fucking favorite in this fight. He's done nothing to show that he should be, especially since Lerone Murphy just came off the Josh Emmett win and beat Dan Ige after getting dropped. So, I mean, he didn't get hurt really at all by Josh Emmett, and then he got dropped by Dan Ige, but was able to recover and still win. So I think we're gonna see a pretty dominant performance, just like a basically prime fucking Izzy. Just jab, stay to the outside, jab, leg kick, jab, stay away. Outbox him from the outside. I think we're looking at a 30-27, pretty clear, boring ass fucking fight. A stupid ass and lame fucking co-main, by the way. So, whatever, but yeah, I don't know why Aaron Pico, I think, is a -200 right now. I think those odds should change, though, soon. So I think we're going to see a pretty dominant, boring fucking fight from Lerone Murphy, and he's going to take it by unanimous decision. 30-27, maybe 29-28 if he gets clipped by something and just dropped, but I don't see Aaron Pico getting Lerone Murphy out of there. So I'm going to go Lerone Murphy by unanimous decision. I'd say 30-27 across the board. Then moving on to the main event. Very interesting fight. Very interesting fight. I have strong feelings about this fight. Now, Dricus is obviously coming off a dominant win off of Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland got completely shut down and wasn't able to get any of his game going at all. Dricus looked the best he ever had. Didn't really get hit that much and just was able to just shut down Sean Strickland at everything. Didn't need to wrestle at all. And then Khamzat Chimaev is coming off the Robert Whittaker win, a controversial win in my eyes because that teeth situation happened before the fight. And Rob did not look the best in the RDR fight, in my opinion. So I don't know what to make of it. Rob was able to get back up multiple times, but he, did just get dragged back down. But I don't know. I don't really know what to think about that fight. And then before that, he went life or death with Kamaru Usman. He did dominate the first round very clearly, but then he was getting outstruck by Marty fucking Fake Newsman, the CEO of EPO, who can't even throw a fucking 1-2 without looking like a fucking idiot anymore. He looks like shit on the feet and looked fucking terrible on the feet against Buckley. His wrestling was the only thing that saved him. He's lucky that fucking Buckley cannot wrestle for his life. So, I think, I don't know, it's pretty interesting. But I think Dricus is a very, very smart fighter. He's probably the fighter with the best heart that I've ever seen. He has a champion's mindset, meaning that he's going to go in there and he's not going to stop until he kills you. He's going to do everything in his power. He's not going to give up on himself. And he does that, has done that every single fight. And he's gotten better and better and better. So I think his team, especially after last camp, it was just a beautiful preparation and game plan, and beautifully executed by Dricus. So I think Dricus is going to come into this knowing what he needs to do. Just in the first round, probably lose it. Probably, get thrown around a little bit. Maybe wrestle, just try to take down Khamzat even. Just wrestle with him. Stay in the wrestling exchanges. Don't get close to anything dangerous. He knows it's going to be a fucking wrestling fest. Maybe throw a knee up the middle, to be honest, in the first 10 seconds. Or shoot a takedown on Khamzat in the first 10 seconds. So, there is that. But I think what's going to happen is that Khamzat's going to have a very clear first round, just taking Dricus down. And then in the second round, it's going to be a lot closer. Khamzat might get a takedown or two, but Dricus is going to get up and start landing and start outstriking Khamzat, because Khamzat's striking is fucking shit. He's going to start fucking hammering the body, start doing his weird lunges, probably cut Khamzat. Khamzat Chimaev or Gourmet Chen Chen, whichever you prefer. He's gonna cut Gourmet Chen Chen, start hammering the body kicks after each combination, leg kicks, stick with his lead question mark kick just to switch it up. He's gonna target the body a lot because Khamzat keeps a very high guard, which leaves him prone to body kicks and body strikes. So I think he's gonna stick to his usual lunges, but target the body kicks a lot. And then in the third round, I think we're gonna see a much more worn down and kind of, starting to be defeating and intimidated Khamzat, because he's been so used to being the fucking hammer his entire career that if he gets to that third round and starts, I don't think he's going to have an answer. I don't think he'll be able to take Dricus down. And if he does, Dricus will get right back up in the third round. And I think Dricus is going to start really putting it on him and probably hurt Khamzat and really fucking bust him up. And the ref might get close, to be honest, in the third round. And then in the fourth round, I see Dricus either folding Khamzat with a body shot and following it up with ground and pound when Khamzat's shelled up, or hurting Khamzat to the body and then following it up with something to the head that gets Khamzat out of there. Again, his lead question mark kick, Dricus is very elite. It's very slick. So I think there's a good chance he catches him with that and then follows it up with his lunging punches and drops Khamzat and gets him out of there with... He could sub Khamzat too in the fourth round, like a rear naked choke like he did Izzy. I think there's a good chance for that after Khamzat has been hurt and worn down. But I think I'm going to go fourth round TKO from Dricus du Plessis, cementing his, legacy at middleweight. And I think with this win, I think he'll probably surpass Izzy or the next win. But I'm going to go fourth round TKO from Dricus du Plessis. Probably body shots are going to be what leads to it, in my opinion. And then follow it up with ground and pound. And then Dricus is going to be victorious. I'd say 2 minutes in to the fourth round, I'm going to go by TK. So that will be my pick. I'm going Dricus du Plessis by fourth round TKO. And that wraps up my UFC 319 main card picks. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.